I am going to be reading the oldest and the newest book on my physical TBR. I have prioritized reading a lot of my older books, so this is one of the few that I have left from 2023. This is a Twisted Retreat edition, The Camp by Nancy Bush. And then I also just got in this Evernight edition of The Staircase in the Woods by Chuck Wendig. Very funny that they're both special editions from horror book boxes. Super excited to get to both of these. I haven't heard anybody talk about the camp, and this one is brand new, so I haven't heard many thoughts. So high hopes, fingers crossed, really excited to read both of these. It'll be good to finally get this one off of my shelves because I don't need anything from 2023 on my shelves anymore, and I have just a few left. I said I was gonna unhaul them a while ago and I did not. And then I really want to prioritize getting to new books as they come in as well. Starting off with The Camp. This is a Twisted Retreat edition. It is embossed. So the cover honestly is not my favorite. The spine is like that. And then the back says Camp Fog Lake. I do like the foredge. And then there's some end papers in here as well. So in this, according to the synopsis, we are at this camp where, I'm going to look it up because nothing in the synopsis has happened yet. Isn't that so wonderful for me personally? No. On the story graph, there's an average rating of 2.96. Oh, goodness. Okay. It says, there are always stories told around the fire at summer camp. Tall tales about gruesome murders. Sorry, you can hear somebody mowing, weed whacking, leaf blowing. They're doing all the things outside at all times. Tall tales about gruesome murders and unhinged killers concocted to scare new arrivals and lend an extra jolt of excitement to those hormone-charged nights. At Camp Luft Shock, nicknamed Camp Love Shack, there are stories about a creeping fog that brings death with it. But here, they're not just campfire tales. Here, the stories are real. So, 20 years ago, which we do see in the first chapter, a girl is found on a ledge above a lake, arms crossed over her heart. And then people think it's part of the suicide pact because her boyfriend is also dead. And people think it's connected to the nearby Haven commune. And then there are these 3 teenagers who were at the summer camp. The first chapter is very horny. Actually, another chapter also is. And now the camp is reopening. So in the first chapter, we are seeing the night that murder, death, whatever happens. And then in chapter 2, we're following Emma, who is not one of the friends, but she, I guess, was there. And this part is very much following like a pregnancy kind of storyline, which I don't want to read about, especially with like a fog that causes death. She was attacked during her senior year of high school, and she hit her head on the fireplace mantle, which caused permanent brain damage. And there's this thing with like her wanting to be a surrogate for her sister, but the court and everybody is like, you can't because of your brain. So that's been like not my favorite thing to read. I don't love it. It all just feels like weird. I don't know. But like that chapter was so long, just her being like, I want to be a surrogate. And they're like, no, you can't. You're not allowed to. And then we go into chapter 3, which is following, I don't know anybody's name, Brooke. And Brooke is one of the 3 friends. And she's going to this dinner party with her husband, who they're like not divorced, but they're not together anymore. It's just, the whole thing is just weird and boring and not like fun weird. Just like, why is this all happening? I don't know. I don't need such long backstories for everybody. Like 60 pages in, we aren't at the camp. We haven't really seen anything about it. I don't need this pregnancy storyline. I don't need this person and her divorce storyline because like he wants to get back with her and she's like, no, I don't want that. But she gets an invitation to go back for an alumni weekend. And I'm just like, it's so boring. So I looked at some of the reviews and a lot of people say there's too many points of view. Nothing really happens for the longest time. That's how I'm feeling. So there's no point in me reading this to give it 2 stars if I'm already feeling the way the people that give this 2 stars felt when reading it. And I'm just not having a good time. I'm not interested in anything. The stuff with the fog is not intriguing enough for me to push past to the other stuff. especially when I'm like actively disliking some of it. So I am going to DNF this 60 pages in. It is currently Escape the Readathon, which is a competitive team-based readathon I host in May. Not too late to join. You can join at any point throughout the month and backlog your books, which is a nice boost for your team. As the person in charge, I'm not on a team. I have too much information, but this year, every week, I am reading for and against 2 different teams. So the first week, I read against the detectives, so all of my reads made it harder for the teams to move on, which I do have other booktubers who are helping me do that. So I read 5 books against them. Those are all in my booktuber favorites video. If you are interested in watching that, I'll have that linked so you can kind of get a little bit of insight on the detectives and the hackers because I was reading for them. I had started that video before Escape, so like moving forward, the rest of my vlogs are going to be a little more detailed. So I have 58 pages that I will be able to log against the hackers for one of the optional rooms with logging pages, since I didn't get to 50% to count it for a prompt. And then those 58 pages will also go to the podcasters who I am reading for this week. The next vlog will be fun because I will be switching in the middle of the vlog for who my books are going towards and against. So yeah, sadly a DNF for this one. I'm kind of not surprised though. I do have some mixed opinions on Twisted Retreat books. I've given some 5 stars. I've DNF'd some, but this is one of the older ones, so like it is what it is. I've liked a lot of their more recent stuff. So that out of the way, it's nice to have this off my shelves finally. Like it feels so good. Even though I didn't love this, I'm very happy with my progress. So I will be moving on to The Staircase in the Woods. This is the Evernight edition. I think that the outside is fine, like it's not my favorite, but I really like this. I think it's so cool. So I better like this because I need this on my shelves. Honestly, I'll probably keep it anyway just because I really like it. So I'm gonna read some and tell you what more than just there's a staircase in the woods. I forgot to tell you. So I was trying to see how long the camp is because this edition doesn't exist on Storygraph. So I was like trying to figure out percentages because I'm logging it as an audiobook and that doesn't really matter. I saw the last sentence and it made me even more glad that I DNF'd this because like if that's the end of this book, then I know the focus is absolutely not what I want it to be. Okay, so if you're interested in reading this book, don't listen to me, but the last sentence says, Jamie opened the Jamie opened the junk drawer and looked down at the pregnancy test she'd taken. Her period was 3 weeks late. If that's the end of a horror book, it's not enough horror and it's too much of a focus on other things that I don't want to be the focus, especially when the synopsis is just talking about this camp and reunions at this camp and the things that happen in this past and the mysteries within that. I don't want it to be that focused on people having children and all of that. And like, I don't know. So that was not annoying to me because that's a fine plotline to have, but I don't like when that is the focus of books, but you're not told that it's the focus until you're reading it. And then you're like, but where's the stuff I want? So this definitely did not have enough of the stuff I wanted considering that is the last sentence and is supposed to like be a big impact in the story. No, thank you. I have been reading The Staircase in the Woods. Should I hold it like this so you can see the title? Because this does not say anything on it, but it's beautiful and I'm obsessed with it. And I'm glad that I'm enjoying the book because of that. I have made it 145 pages in, which I think is 35% roughly. I was scared for this one. I have only read one book from Chuck Wendig before and gave it 2 stars. The Book of Accidents. I thought it was really boring. I did like the ending of it. I liked the direction it went in, but it was so long and drawn out and just like ridiculous. This one is shorter. It's still a little bit on the long side. I don't want to accidentally spoil myself, but it's like around 400 pages. So in this, we are following this group of friends. We are in both timelines. So in the past, I believe it's like 20 years ago, they were around like older high school age. They were in the woods and this staircase appeared and it kind of just like stopped and they ended up investigating it. One of them went to the top and it looks like they just like stepped off and then disappeared. They were all questioned by the police because their friend went missing. And they have this cover story because who's gonna believe a bunch of kids that say there's a staircase that appeared in the woods, my friend went up it and disappeared, and now the staircase is gone. That, like, no one, nobody's going to believe that. But this event caused them all to drift apart. They're not friends anymore now. And at the beginning, they all get an email from one of the friends, Nick, saying that he has cancer and that he doesn't have much time to live, so he wants them all to come to his pre-funeral, like, celebration of life thing so that he can be there for that. They get there, there's a driver that picks them up, takes them to the woods, and there's another staircase there. I honestly don't know if that's in the synopsis, but I had to tell you that part, and I feel like knowing that does not impact a single thing, because, like, moving forward, I can't tell you about anything without telling you that. So they decide to, like, further investigate this new staircase. So where I am now, they haven't been, like, in where the staircase leads to for very long, but this cover makes a lot of sense with it. It's very interesting. I think that it could really be my vibe. Leading up to this, I've enjoyed it. I think that seeing the friendship dynamics in the past and how they all are now as people and seeing them learn to navigate their new personalities, having something like your friend disappearing and then drifting apart and coming back after that. It's something that I tend to like in books. There are tons that it happens in, but like the one I'm thinking of right now is a Vera Kurian book that came out, A Step Past Darkness. That one was one that worked for me recently that sticks out. I'm not like obsessed with any of the characters. I think that they all have like different enough dynamics that they work together. Seeing how they each interact with individuals and then within the group is fine. But really it's the plot for me that is carrying this. The first third felt like a little slow because it was learning about all of the characters. But I'm really, really looking forward to seeing more exploration of this place that they have found themselves in. So far, so good. I also went to the bookstore today. This is no longer my newest book, but you know, it doesn't matter. I picked up Shield of Sparrows. So many people have been reading and loving this right now. Cassidy, Mel, and Heather are all reading it at the moment. Some other people are as well, but I wanted to grab the first edition because Cassidy said she thinks that I will like it. So I wanted to grab it so that I have it. No idea when I'm going to be reading this, but I now own it. I don't know what it's about. That's how much I trust Cassidy's romantasy recs. Monsters. Oh, a monster hunter. Okay. Yeah, I still don't really know what this is about, and I don't care to look into it at the moment. But I have a copy of this, so I think I'm gonna go outside and sit on my hammock and read. That sounds incredible. But I can see myself starting to enjoy this even more with like the weird things that are happening. I love weird stuff and it's working really well for me. I enjoyed some time out on the hammock. I didn't read as much as I thought I was going to because I was just like existing as a person in the outside, which I definitely don't do enough of. I've been working on my diamond painting, which I've been doing on and off for a while. This one's been very, very long. I guess I can show it to you. This one, they're really big, is a skull, and I've done all but this little part on the outside because I think it'll be so nice to just do the inside all at once. So I've been doing literally one color forever, which is tedious but good for like audiobooks because I'm not really thinking about it anyway. So I am now 258 pages, well, I guess I'm 260 pages into the staircase in the woods. I have mixed feelings about this one because I, in theory, am really liking it, but also I think it's too long and drawn out, but at the same time, it wouldn't be the same story if it was not this. I can't even really tell you what's happening. They're exploring what is happening past these stairs. There's a lot of like wandering and different changing experiences. I don't know how to talk about this because I think it could be, I don't know, it could be a spoiler for people, but like, I don't know. I don't think I would be bothered by it. If you don't want to know anything about this book, just like skip ahead like 30 seconds. There's a labyrinth at the top of these stairs. It is different rooms in many different houses, and there's like things to discover within that I won't tell you, but they are just wandering around room to room trying to figure a way out. So within that, they have these conversations about their past and how their life has changed because of everything that happened in the past. Things are like happening to their mind after being in this place for so long. So we're seeing this like descent into madness kind of, and seeing them try to deal with that. So things have to be a little repetitive and drawn out so that this madness can start to happen and they can start to pick up on things to try to get out, but it's at the same time a little boring because we are watching them just walking into the next thing and looking at it and then deciding if they want to stay there for a little bit or if they need to leave, and like figuring out things. I don't know. I'm liking it. I think that it's a super interesting concept, and the stuff that they are discussing where I am now could make it even more fun because I think it'll bring a little bit more intrigue to things and make you as the reader even more invested in specific aspects that I just can't say. At the moment, I would say it's a 3.5 star. I do really think it's too long, but I think there's just like enough of things that I like to be intrigued, even though it's not completely working for me. There's a lot of cool concepts. I just don't know if the execution is my favorite, but I also don't know how the execution could be different, if that makes sense. My hair's still a little wet, so ignore that. I finished The Staircase in the Woods. I am gonna give this one 3.5 stars. I really enjoyed certain aspects of it, and I can appreciate what it is doing, but there was just something about it that didn't completely work for me. It felt like a unique take on something that I've seen done over and over. It is kind of his version of retelling like a certain very popular horror book that a lot of people are inspired by when they are writing their books. And I really like that. I liked the take on it. I liked the discussion on friendship and trauma within your family and hiding things, and how things can like simmer in you and turn into these like way bigger feelings because nothing was dealt with at the time. I like seeing these characters learn more about their friends and seeing how their decisions and how they reacted to things impacted other people, and seeing them kind of learn from that. This is one of those fun ones where the setting is almost a character itself, so I did appreciate that, but when reading it, was never fully invested in the story. The characters are all very unlikable, and that gets worse as the book goes, which doesn't really bother me, but they weren't unlikable in an interesting way for the most part. There were a couple things that I was like, oh, this is intriguing, but for the most part, they were a little, not flat, but a little uninteresting. Overall, I'm going to give it 3.5 stars. I would try more from Chuck Wendig, but I don't think his stories are ever going to be my absolute favorite, even though I really like them in theory. So, in terms of Escape the Readathon, it's just been a day, so I'm still reading for the podcasters and against the hackers. So this will be logged against the hackers in their current game, and it will be logged for the podcasters in their current game. So I now have the oldest book off my shelves and the newest book read almost immediately, which does not usually happen. I think I plan on doing this again in the future. I like being forced to read some of the stuff that's been on my shelves longer that I've been avoiding, and it's always really exciting to get something and read it immediately. Very shiny, new, sometimes they're hyped books, reading fancy special editions. Hopefully I don't DNF things moving forward. This is the book on my shelves that I was the most hesitant to pick up in the first place, so I don't foresee this being like a common thing, especially because almost every single book on my shelves now is from last year and this year. If you made it to the end and want to leave me an emoji to say you were here, you can leave me an old person or a baby in the comments for the oldest and newest books on my shelves. The next vlog from me will be the Escape the Readathon team leaders picking me books based on specific tropes that I tend to like. Very excited for that one. There's some books that I would not have read, some things very out of my comfort zone, so I'm scared, but also very excited. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. I hope to see you very soon. Bye.